People in Martha's Vineyards woke up yesterday to 50 migrants they weren't expecting wandering the street. Men, women, children. Turns out they had just arrived in a plane from Texas, compliments of Governor Greg Abbott and Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis. They were shipped there as a political stunt because if you sanctuary cities want these people so much you can have them kind of thing. Only the people in agencies who would help them were left scrambling to do so because no one told them they were coming. They did, however, let Fox News know, and they were there with their cameras to catch the pandemonium as the libs didn't know what to do. These are not illegal immigrants. These are asylum seekers from Venezuela who are registered with the federal government. And they were given brochures that intentionally gave them the wrong information, so when they failed to update their status properly, they would be deported. And it still gets worse. Ron DeSantis has a $12 million deportation fund funded by Florida taxpayer dollars. And Charlie Crist, who's running against him for governor, found that fund paid a Florida company called Vertal Systems $615,000 to transport those 50 people. That is $12,300 per person.
A $12 million deportation fund funded by the taxpayers of the great state of Florida. Florida, get this dude. Y'all done created this madman. Come and get him. What he is doing is absolutely wrong. DeSanctimonious is at it again. This headline right here: DeSantis signs bill expanding controversial migrant transportation program. So now he's not putting this money to help small businesses or to help schools or to increase the minimum wage. No, oh no, none of that. But the migrants, oh yeah, we're gonna use taxpayers' dollars to ship them on out of here. This is what they do. Florida, is this a good use of your taxpayers' money? Inquiring minds do want to know. Lawmakers voted last week along party lines, no surprise there, to remove the restrictions on the location of the migrants. The measure approved by the Republican-controlled legislature also shifted control of the program from the Florida Department of Transportation to the Florida Department of Emergency Management, a move that would allow the DeSantis administration to award millions of dollars in no-bid contracts to facilitate the transportation of migrants. I want y'all to read the small print. No bid contract, so he can give money to all his friends, all his owner donors and the companies that they own to create more misery and havoc for these migrants. Florida, we ask you again on Unbossed, do you believe that this is a good use of your money? This man is an authoritarian. That's exactly what he is. He running Florida like he the damn king. Florida, y'all need to figure something out because the rest of the country shouldn't have to suffer because of this man's foolishness and mayhem. Because that's really what's happening here. DeSantis said, let's put up what this dude said, DeSanctimonious. I would love not to have to deal with this at all. Such a liar. But you have a total disaster that's unfolded on the borders for over 2 years. You've had millions and millions of people come across illegally from 100 different countries. Nobody knows who the folks are. We have no idea what they're going to do when they get here. You know what? Again, painting people as the other so he can gin up fear and get people's feathers all ruffled up so that they can hate somebody else. We have no idea who they are and where they coming from. Really, dude? So your answer is to ship them off somewhere else instead of figuring out the fix, working with the federal government? That's your, see, he is a fear mongerer, Florida. Y'all can do better than this. The Sunshine State, you got to do better. You know what? It's dim and cloudy over there in Florida. Ain't no sunshine in Florida because of this man and his manipulation. So DeSantis and the GOP, they play these games with these people's lives. And I want you to check out a quote from Ali's book, Crossing Borders, the Reconciliation of a Nation of Immigrants. Let's take a look at this. In our effort to learn about the root causes of Central America's migration to the United States, we expected a sense of fear and hopelessness to run through our meetings. Instead, we met people of determination, focus, and pride who wanted more for their country, who didn't want to leave their homes. Ali Norandi is the author of this book. Thank you so much for this. So Jessica, just your thoughts about what this governor is doing, how he is stoking fear, and how there are other governors across the country who are mimicking this madness.
Yeah, DeSantis likes to be a trendsetter with stuff like this, from the Don't Say Gay bill to trying to defund Disney Corporation. He really likes to be the first guy to do things and to set trends within the Republican Party But he couldn't have passed this without the help of the House and Senate in Florida. And it's very interesting that they voted across party lines, which in the Senate was 27-12, and in the House was 77-34. And when you think about the last presidential election in 2020 in Florida, with about 51.2% going to the Republicans, it's really interesting that the House and Senate has such overwhelming Republican makeup. So if you're a Democrat and you're noticing that in red states across the country, we're really being swept in local state House and Senate elections, that's a huge problem. We need more investment locally from the Democratic Party. We can't just worry about the presidency, every 4 years. It's not a good approach and has real consequences. This is one of them. So with fiscal tightening we have right now as well, spending $10 to $12 million on something like this, is this a smart thing to do economically if you're the governor of a state? It's pretty clearly not. And so why is he doing it? I think you raise a really good point that he's gonna have say, because this is emergency funds that are being appropriated. He's gonna have say over which construction companies get these major contracts or transportation companies get these major contracts. We should be looking into, are those guys buddies of DeSantis? Are those guys donating to DeSantis's presidential campaign? Because this is a recipe for corruption. And considering his track record, I wouldn't be surprised if he was up to something fishy here.
Oh, he is. No big contracts on top of that too. Oh yeah, this dude is up to something fishy. Florida, ain't no sunshine, okay, until that dude is gone. All right, that's just what it is.